Okay, let's jump into the gaming news section of this video. And we're just gonna go over a bunch of gaming news things that happened while I was gone and things that I've wanted to talk about or things that just happened that I wanna talk about. And the first thing I wanna talk about is I did do a reaction to the Elden Ring trailer. If you didn't see that, it's on the channel, you can go watch it. But I wanted to give my thoughts on it in this episode because I didn't really get to talk about it enough, in my opinion, in the little reaction I did. But I'm just grateful that there's just more Elden Ring, and that's what everybody's wanted. Is when the game came out 2 years ago, nobody could get enough Elden Ring, and we just wanted a little bit more because there's just the world is so awesome and expansive. But the thing is that for us people who have beaten the game, which I'm very close, you just can't get enough of it. You want more bosses, more weapons, and all those different things. And the cool thing is that we got confirmation that the map size is going to be similar to the area of Limgrave, which is the southern half of the world. So you'll see that on the map. It's going to be massive. I'm really excited because I was worried that it was just going to be maybe dungeons added to the zone and then they weren't going to add anything new. But I am grateful they're actually adding a full brand new zone, which is going to be awesome. And just in general, I'm just glad that they're going all out with this. They're making it a full expansion, not just adding some stuff. They're really like making this, like expanding the universe. And I'm really excited. They're adding new armor sets, adding new weapons, they're adding new abilities, new bosses. And I did see in there that it potentially looked like there was going to be a new mount, but again, that could have been just one of the bosses riding something. But I would love a new mount, and I hope that's actually something that would happen. And I'm wondering, the biggest question I have is this going to be the only DLC before they come out with a second version of this game? And are they even going to come out with an Elden Ring 2? They haven't really kind of talked about that. And I guess for good reason, because they want you to focus on Elden Ring and not something else. But again, you know, I can't get enough of it. But the DLC, more or less, releases on June 20th, and I'm really excited for it. All right, so the next game that just got announced recently, but apparently it's been in beta or somebody's played it and people have known about it forever, but I didn't know about it, is there's gonna be a Dune Awakening game coming out very soon. Not very soon, actually. They said it's gonna come out eventually, but it feels like it's gonna be within the next year or two. This is actually something I didn't expect because I liked the movie Dune. It was pretty good. It wasn't like my favorite movie I've ever seen, but I thought it was pretty good. I've heard the books are very good. But the game looks pretty promising, honestly. It's a PvE, PvP base building game. It's like an open world game. I don't know, like there's apparently a big online component to it and whatnot. You're going to be able to do things like trade things with players and things. So I'm not sure if it's going to be classified as an MMO or if it's just going to be a open world RPG with people or what. But I can't really grasp around what it's actually going to be. But the cool thing is that the visuals of the game look incredible. The sand dunes look awesome. The worms look really menacing. All the buildings and things you can build look really expansive and in depth. So it's actually really cool. And then what else here? So the blueprints that you can build, like if you build a building, for example, they can actually be sold to other players, which I think is cool. So there's going to be some sort of like auction house type vibe to it. So that's going to be actually pretty cool. And then weapon crafting and vehicle crafting is going to be pretty in depth. So you're going to be able to craft all these different types of vehicles and weapons and things of that nature. And I bet you're going to be able to trade those as well to other people and various things. And what else? There's going to be a skill tree, different abilities, and things of that nature. So you're going to be able to customize your character a bit from the beginning. And apparently you don't have to stick with that particular character. You can go a different direction if you decide. So that's going to be interesting. And the game overall seems to give you just a good amount of freedom to kind of do whatever you want, which, again, I was thinking this was going to be more of a structured thing. And apparently there is going to be a story that you follow and you can make decisions on where you want to go and various things like that. But I don't know. It's kind of drawing the line. I'm trying to figure out if this is supposed to be an MMO, open world, RPG. It seems like a mix of everything. We'll figure it out. And it's going to be running on Unreal Engine 5, which is pretty exciting. I know that that's fairly new and it still has some issues. It's not running extremely well on some hardware, but it's cool to see that they're doing that. And again, there's no release window. They're still working on that. The developer has said that they're willing to take as much time as possible to make this game work really well, but that also kind of scares me because we've heard that before and games come out like crap. So I don't know. We'll see how that works. But yeah, the game looks decent. From the trailer and all the little things I've seen about it, I've heard other people talk about it. It seems like it's going to be decent, but I'm not sure. I'm 50-50 right now. I want to actually try beta because they're seem to be willing to release a lot of betas for it. So I want to try beta and see how the game plays. But we'll see how that plays. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, but who knows? Okay, so I didn't get to talk about this disaster, and that is Skull and Bones. What a disaster that game was, apparently. Not only is it overpriced, it just is trying to be a game that it can't be, which is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. If you are an Assassin's Creed fan or you played it back in the day, and my cat's walking in the background. This is Winchester. He acts like a pirate sometimes. Anyways, if you played Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you remember how awesome that game was. I didn't play the whole game. I didn't beat it, but I remember being into it at the time. It was actually a pretty fun game. It was the first time I played an Assassin's Creed since the first one that I actually was enjoying it. I just never beat it, but now looking back at some content for it after Skull and Bones came out, I kind of want to play it now. But anyway, so that's basically what this is. It's supposed to be the spiritual successor to Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the first quadruple A game, the whole bells and whistles. Ubisoft overhyped this game like crazy. And I don't know, it just sucks from what I've seen. You can't get out of the boat. Everything is done in the boat. You're resource farming in the boat. You're cutting down trees. You're doing everything in the boat. It kind of sucks. Like with Assassin's Creed, at least you're able to get out of the boat, explore, do a wide variety of things. It was way ahead of its time. It was an awesome game concept. But this one just is literally focused on the naval side of the thing, which for some people that's cool. But when you got a game like Sea of Thieves that is doing both very well currently, it's kind of underwhelming to only be able to do just the boat stuff. And then the boat stuff is really not that great because at least in Sea of Thieves, you have to crew or manage the entire thing, meaning you have to turn the sails, you got to operate the cannons, load the cannons, whatever. Like it requires more than just turning left, turning right, shooting, which is exactly what Skull and Bones is. I don't know what they were trying to do with this game. It's just a cheap throwaway game, in my opinion, that everybody's going to forget about here in a few years, except for the only thing that people will remember is the colossal fail it was, in my opinion, because it's not doing well. Nobody's playing it. It's overpriced like crazy, and it's just going to be dead extremely fast. So about 2 weeks ago, a little game came out called Helldivers 2, and it's a small indie game. Not a lot of people are playing it, but I thought it was kind of fun, It was one of those games that, it's cool to play on like the cell phone or something, but no, I'm joking. This is the most popular game right now out in 2024 so far. It's absolutely crushing every metric on the planet. Everybody's loving it. The sales numbers are actually not declining like a lot of people thought. They're only increasing or stabilizing, which is absolutely insane. So kudos to the developer. It's a small team of 100 people. They had an idea based on the success or the ideas they had in the first game. They brought it over to Helldivers 2, and they're being rewarded with their efforts because they're putting a lot of work in, and it shows. They're actually doing a great job. But anyways, yes, I'm coming out with a full review and overview of Helldivers. It's either going to be out prior to this video or shortly after, but you'll be able to see it pop up on the channel. But anyways, I wanted to kind of go over some of my initial thoughts in this episode because there are some things I didn't talk about in that video that I do want to talk about here. So the Metacritic score for the game is an 83 or 8.5, which is pretty solid. It's not anything crazy, but it's actually pretty solid. And the game has overall just sold millions of copies so far, which has far exceeded the developers' expectations, which has made them have to adjust their roadmap because they had a slow trickle out of content coming, but now they're having to accelerate a lot of that content because the game is so popular and they don't want to lose that momentum, which they have no signs of slowing down at this point. The numbers are only going up, which is pretty crazy. And I think one of the biggest things that attributes to this is that they don't have an egregious approach to live service. First of all, the game is only $40, which is absolutely fantastic. And second of all, when you go into the game and there are things to buy, you don't technically need to use your own money to buy them. All the currency that is used to purchase things from the shop or things from even the purchasable season pass, you can earn all of that in game. Example, I played for about 12 hours, 14 hours, and I was able to buy the 1,000 super credit season pass thing, which was great. I didn't have to spend a single dollar, so that was awesome. And then you can do the same thing with anything else. You just keep earning super credits from in-game, or you can get them from the other season pass stuff and whatnot. So they don't have an egregious approach to that. And then in general, the gameplay loop is fairly fun, especially with friends. So that's why a lot of people are enjoying it so much. There are some technical issues which are pretty frustrating, such as getting kicked from servers or, having issues staying in game sometimes. It's just a wide variety of technical issues plus some glitches. They did come out with a patch today I kind of wanted to talk about just briefly that did fix some of the problems with like some weapon balancing and things of that nature. For example, they nerfed the railgun, the breaker shotgun, and the energy shield things. Those were dominating the meta. They're not super nerfs, but at the same time, they bring them down a bit, which again, I don't necessarily fully agree with. I'm not saying that I wanted these things to dominate the game, but at the same time, I want them still to be viable. I think that everything should be lifted up to around their level, so that way you can have different options. As well as they listed a bunch of other ones. I'm gonna have that scrolling on the screen, but they fixed the armor rating, so now they actually work properly. So instead of light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor counting for the same armor value, you can actually see a difference, which is going to be great. So I'm actually looking forward to trying some heavy armor. And they also added this in, which was pretty cool, and I want to talk about this, is they added more planetary hazards, which can be things like fire tornadoes and meteor showers and various things like that, which I think is cool. It's just adding another dynamic to the game, as well as they've already announced that mechs are coming to the game for you to be able to ride around in and shoot bugs and the automatons and whatnot, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, they're patching the game fast. And just a couple other side notes I want to talk about in this is that they're sitting at about 400,000 concurrent players at any given time on Steam, which is pretty freaking nuts. I just can't believe that. That's not as big as Pal World, which is still hard to believe Pal World got that big. But again, it's still a lot. And in general, I'll talk about it in the review or the overview that I have of the game. So definitely go watch that after you watch this. But the game is pretty good. I don't love it, but I like it a lot. I have some issues with it, and I hope that they iron out some of those over time. But in general, I think the game is in a good spot, and they're only going to get better because it seems like the developers are really eager to have this game succeed. So more kudos to them. I just kind of wanted to go over some of my initial thoughts in this little intro video. But again, check out my review or overview because I go over a lot of stuff in there. Something else I just got announced recently is the classic Star Wars Battlefront games are coming back, which is awesome. We're all super excited. It's not a remaster or anything like that. It's just more of a facelift and bringing it to the modern world. So you're going to be able to play classic Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2. They're going to be in the same game, so you can kind of switch between both, I imagine. I don't know exactly how it's going to work. But this officially was the #2 most pre-ordered game on the PlayStation 5, beating things like the new Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree expansion, which is pretty nuts. I cannot believe that this game is this widely sought after, because they've had the older ones on, Steam and other platforms for quite a while now. I mean, you can buy them for like $2, but I mean, at the same time, it's kind of cool to have those. The best thing about this is that, yes, the resolution is upped and whatnot, but initially I thought that they were not going to have online play. From the rumors and stuff I saw about it, I didn't see it, but yeah, it's going to have full online support. So you're going to be able to play with a bunch of different people online, which is great, just like the old days, because I played this game on classic Xbox, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It was actually really fun. But anyways, so they're going to have that. But the problem with that is that it's only going to be cross-generation. It's not going to be cross-platform. So meaning, if you're on PC, you can't play with Xbox or PlayStation owners. You can only play with PC people, or same thing with PlayStation. You can only play with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 people. So that really sucks. I don't know why that decision was made, because I feel like that's going to dilute the game as a whole over time. Because what's going to happen is, naturally, the game's going to kind of die off. And let's say on PC, which has been the case sometimes, people are playing other things, and then the community is so small, you can't really get full lobbies and things like that. That's going to suck. Whereas if it was cross-platform, everybody would be able to help contribute to making the servers full. So I don't know what their reasoning for that was, but that kind of sucks. But at least it's online, and you can play with other people, which is cool. And then the cool thing is that they are adding something that I didn't know about, because I played Star Wars Battlefront 2 a lot back in the day. I still even have it in the closet there. It's like the original game that I used to have. And basically there was an expansion that was for Xbox Live users only. And this added 2 new characters and some new maps and things like that. That's all coming back in this classic collection, which I'm really excited about because I never played it, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, the biggest draw of this is going to be Galactic Conquest. Everybody loved Galactic Conquest back in the day. I loved it. I thought it was great. I spent hours just playing against the AI or online with other people. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to that. But anyways, my overall thoughts, just to kind of summarize it, are that I'm grateful this is back. I mean, it's better to have things like that, like this, than not have them. But I wish it would have been a remaster, because I don't know, the graphics feel a little bit dated, which is kind of the charm of it, I guess. But I just wanted a remaster of these, because that would have been cool, just to get like a little bit more of a facelift, more than just slightly upping the resolution, I guess. But we'll see if they do any more. But again, it seems like that they're just doing this to kind of tide us over to whatever they decide to do next. But I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on